Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Be Inspired to Be Inspired, the place where everything behind you is why we are here today. And on this wonderful day, we have Women Conquering Life. We have the Jasmine Middleton story. Jasmine,
Hello.
hello and welcome. Welcome, welcome. So, your story. I've been reading up on you, and I must say, I'm so happy to see your smiling face with us here today.
Thank you.
Tell us, Jasmine, um, you know, as I always say, we're here because of what is behind us. And we're
hmm
here in the presence of today, being able to tell that story. What's the Jasmine Middleton story?
Um, well, I am 34. I am disabled. So I was born with spinal meningitis and scoliosis. So I had the first surgery when I was 12, and the second one 17, and the third one at 21.
Wow.
So um just imagine going through childhood, wearing a back brace, which I have one now, which I still continue to wear. So that's part of the story. When you're talking about Women Conquering Life came because of my own experience with domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was in a relationship for 7 years, and I experienced the financial, the physical, the mental, the sexual, the psychological, the emotional. I have four beautiful children because of it. They are my blessings. Um, but because of that is how I came to even have a story. I came to even have just start something for other women to say that you too can get out of this. It's hard to get out of it. It's gonna take some work to get out of it. You're gonna have to sneak and everything to get out of it, but you can get out of it. It takes a while to get out of it. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight.
Absolutely. So,
hmm
part of your journey, and I speak on this because I see this even today, with young people.
hmm
It seems to be a trend, and I don't know, so that's why I want to, you know, inquire this from someone who's been there and been through it.
hmm
You indicated in your blog that you have that you were, in hotels, sleeping in cars,
Yes.
and not because you so much had to, but
No.
because of the choice of the person that you were with, you
Yes.
felt like, hey, this is what he does, this is what I'm going to do, and it's okay, even though I deserve better than this, and
Yeah.
you know it, but you ride with that person that you're with, and you feel like this is cool, this is okay. Tell us
At the
about that journey, Jasmine.
at the time, so you have to go back to and young people. We can say for young people now, you go
Mm-hmm.
back to how they're raised. I wasn't raised like that. I
Mm-hmm.
was raised in the church. I was raised in a house. I was raised with family, parents. My parents were together. I wasn't raised by a single mom or a single dad. I was raised with both my family parents in the household. I had my aunts and my grandmother, and I had family all around. So
And
I was
before you keep going, can I stop you there because I want everyone to understand that it's not something that you can say because this person is this way, because this person is
nope.
that way. It's not a stereotypical thing. So, to the parents out there, you can be the best parent or
Mhm.
the best parents that you can be. And when your child is out there, doing their own thing, they're going to have that mindset of their own. And
Yes.
all we can do is hope that at some point in time, what we install in them comes back.
And one thing that to that point, I actually had a conversation with my mom and my dad
Mm-hmm.
because and also with my aunts and my grandmother and
You had a
something that
village. You had a village.
and something I had to explain to all of them. It was no one's fault why I went through what I went through. It
Mm-hmm.
was a choice that I made for myself. And like you said in the blouse, it was because you're in love with this person. And I take what I do and I apply it to the psychology part because I'm also a mental health therapist. And as a therapist, I realized that it's your mindset, it's your thought process, it's how sometimes it has to do with your childhood because sometimes in childhood you go through
Yes, it
certain,
does.
but sometimes your childhood has nothing to
Nothing
do
to
with
do
the
with
person.
it.
And
Yes.
me, I was both. I was sick as a child, so I had the scoliosis and I was in the hospital and I had the surgeries. But I also had the loving parents and I also grew up in church and I also had people around me. So it was either is this applied to childhood? And I had to, for myself, my own personal story, I can honestly say it had nothing to do with my childhood. It had to do with I saw a person. I wanted this person. I was with this person. I thought I loved this person. So because of that, I thought I loved this person. I'm going to stick by this person.
Yeah.
So if this person is doing drugs and they sit in a car for 3 days, we're going to sit in the car with them.
Yeah.
They decide to get a hotel room today, we're going to get a hotel room.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always like that
Right.
because what it doesn't say in my blog is the times when we were able to get an apartment or a house or have a permanent place to stay. And I will look to the person and the person will go, I don't feel like it. I don't want to pay for that. I
Yeah.
want to use my money to buy food. I want to use my money to buy drugs. So you're still in that position of, but I love this person, so I guess I gotta be with this person. And well, he said he don't really want to pay for an apartment, so another month in the car,
Mm-hmm.
another 2 months in the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and in your mind that. But when you go back, you have to look at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Mental abuse
Mm-hmm.
starts first. So
Yeah.
when you are mentally abused, there's nothing no one can say to you to get. You don't have to have the physical, you don't have to have the sexual, you don't have to have the emotional. But mental abuse, when you're mentally abused, you literally will condition yourself and believe that I love this person. So because of the love that I have for this person, I'm gonna ride for them and do whatever. That's saying a ride or die chick. That
Mm-hmm.
saying is real.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes, it
if you got
is.
deep behind that saying, a lot of that saying is mental abuse.
Yes, it is. And I 110% agree with you. And it takes courage for you
Mm-hmm.
to spotlight yourself and tell your story. It takes courage to also keep going because you could have just stayed in that dark place, but you found the light and you kept going.
Yes, ma'am.
And finding that light has brought light to others.
Yes.
And I want you to share your story in regards to once you came out of that darkness, once you were in that hospital and your aunt came walking through the doors, and you telling the nurse, your story, and that nurse telling you, God, God heard you.
Yes, it took. Now I have to like I
Hey,
shout
it's your time. You take us wherever you
out
want to go.
because my aunt, this is my mom's little sister.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't know. I remember that day, and it's September 24th, 2017, 5 years ago. And I remember the morning. I remember waking up. I remember the fight. I remember everything, but I don't remember the after. So me opening up my eyes in the hospital and I see my auntie Tara sitting there and she has the kids with her. And I see the domestic violence advocate from the shelter that I was supposed to be going into that was helping me because he did get arrested. He went to jail. and he was no longer around. And when I opened and I saw these people, and the first thing my aunt said was, I got the kids, don't worry. For me, because my kids were babies, I had a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 2-month-old at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my first thought for me was, okay, what happened to me? What's going on? And I literally had to lay there when everybody cleared out the room and the nurses was gone and my advocate was gone and my aunt took the kids and she took them back to her house and everyone left. And I laid there and I looked at myself in the mirror and I had a black eye, my lip was busted, I had tubes coming out, I couldn't move. They told me that I was completely paralyzed. Um, my only thing that I kept saying to myself was, God, if you let me live, I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of me believed that I deserved it,
Mm-hmm.
but the other part of me knew you got to get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept saying, okay, which part am I gonna listen to? Because that's the biggest thing. When you are in it, you know you deserve better. You
Mm-hmm.
know you got to get out of it.
Yeah.
But you also have that voice that tells you, but I love this person,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to see this person go to jail.
And I
And for
can change this person. And if I just do this a little bit more, he's gonna change.
when I was in that hospital bed, one of the thoughts was, when I found out he was in jail for what happened, and
Mm-hmm.
I went to the phone, I went to Googling to the jail, like, and I'm like, okay, he got charged for this. What? His he got charged for attempted murder, child endangerment ×3 because my kids saw it. He got charged battery and assault and family violence and domestic violence. But he got off. He got probation.
Mm-hmm.
Let him walk. They dropped the attempted murder charge. So for me, I'm laying in this hospital bed and I'm reading all of this, and my mind is saying, I don't want him in jail. The kids are going to lose their father.
Mm,
But
you, mm,
I had to look at myself and say, yeah, they're going to lose their father, but they're going to lose their mother too. So which one is more important?
mhm,
And it really took me laying there, like having that experience and being there for those months and going through the rehab and learning how to walk and learning how to write my name and learning how to remember things. It took a lot. And at the end of it all, the one thing I can say now, 5 years later, is I don't care if I'm disabled. I don't care if I have to wear back brace. I don't care if I got to go to the doctor every other month. The fact that I'm still alive, I'm smiling, and
mhm,
my kids didn't lose both parents,
mhm.
that for me is the biggest takeaway.
Yes.
And I tell my clients and the women that I work with and the women that I talk to, the number one thing I tell them all the time is, you may not be ready to get out right now in this very moment.
Mhm,
But what is one thing that you can hold on to if you was to get out that you can honestly say you'll be grateful for?
mhm,
So
mhm,
laying in that hospital bed, I had a choice to make. I could, I was in the hospital. I've had bruises before. I've had black eyes and bruised mouths and covered up makeup with the bruises. And I've walked around with being hit in my arm and bruises on the legs and being punched. I've had all of that. I left 3 times before this, the last time.
mhm,
But I always went back
mhm,
because I always thought about, if I leave him, what he gonna do? He gonna be homeless because he couldn't get nothing in his name. So I had to be the one to put everything in my name. So I gotta make sure he got a place to stay. I gotta make sure he got food because I have food stamps. So I had to make sure he ate something. I had to make sure I could keep a job. So I had to make sure I get a job. So we always had money. So because of all the thought processes and all of those thoughts going through my mind, it was a decision that had to be made, which was, are you gonna go back? He tried to kill you this time.
Mm-hmm.
He might be successful next time.
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to stay and heal and work through this and walk away completely?
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time to fully walk away. It wasn't in that moment. It didn't happen that day. I spoke to him after the hospital. I spoke to him while in the hospital. I let him call my phone from the jail.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an easy process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I let the kids talk to him. And he would tell them he missed them, and they would tell him they missed him.
Yeah.
And I, I would miss him. I would think about him.
Would you say he was or he had become more than love, but also an addiction?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because it had become. I'm learning how to walk. I had 2 strokes. I can't really do anything for myself. I have a home health aide, but I'm still missing having the comfort of a person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still missing. I miss him. I miss my kid's father.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, let me call him. I got his number. He got my number.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I would,
It was a place of familiarity, a
yes,
place,
of
uh,
comfortability.
yeah,
There was
yeah.
a place of I'm comfortable with this person. This
Mm-hmm.
person knows everything
Thing
about me.
about me, yeah,
When I'm sad, I know when he's mad. I know when he says tone of voice. Like, but I use God in that because it took God to break down that familiarity and that comfortability. It took God to really break the ties that I had
mm-hmm.
because those ties was really, really strong.
Yeah, yeah.
Because even,
And honestly, they still are. You just
yes,
learn how to um you learn how to acknowledge
mm-hmm.
what is real and what shouldn't be and what you deserve and what you learn to.
See, for me, the ties are still there because my kids are still here. I
Yeah.
look at my kids. My son, he's 5 now. He looks just like him. My
Mm-hmm.
girls look like him. So it's not something that will ever go away.
Right, there you go.
But it's something that I know within myself I will never go back to.
Yeah, because you have an awakening.
Yes.
Yes. So let
Yeah.
me ask you this.
Mhm.
How did you meet?
I
I'm
met
glad you're smiling.
I love him because I could tell this story 5 years later and I
Yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah, exactly.
but I met him through the first time I see him was on the college campus, Georgia State, in the state of Georgia.
Wow.
That was the first time I seen him. It wasn't no conversation, no nothing. During that time, part of my story is during that time I was with a female. I didn't date guys, I didn't like guys, I didn't even talk to guys. I hadn't wasn't with a guy at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I was dating a female
Mm-hmm.
that was Georgia State. I was on Georgia State and I seen her for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't speak, not whatever. The second time I saw him was my one of my old coworkers at one of my old jobs.
Mm-hmm.
She like she used to talk to his cousin. They dated. Okay. And one day she was like, I'm about to go down to so and so's house. Why don't you come hang out? You know, his cousin gonna be there. You can hang out with his cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I seen his picture, I remembered him from the Georgia State. I
Mm-hmm.
remembered him from viewing him on Facebook, online. I didn't seen his profile and all of that. So I was
You
like,
went searching, it's like,
yeah.
yeah.
So for me, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not doing anything. The person that I'm dating at the time, she's at work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bored in the house. Let's go hang out.
Mm-hmm.
I went with her. We rode down there. We hung out for a couple of hours. Me and him sat and talked. And during this time, he kept telling me, "You gonna be my girlfriend. I'm gonna turn you straight." And I
Oh
was
my.
telling him, at the time, my mindset wasn't there.
Yeah,
22 years, 21, 22 years old,
yeah.
in college. I'm not thinking about
Right,
dating. Like
right.
I got a whole girlfriend I live with. We
Yeah,
live together. We everything. Like
yeah,
I'm not in
yeah.
that mindset. So for me, I used to laugh at him. Nah, I'm good. I'm real
Mm-hmm.
good. For 3 months, he was very, I'm gonna get you.
Mm-hmm.
So after Christmas in 2011, 2012 actually,
Mm-hmm.
after Christmas, my friends was like, why don't you just sleep with him? You never been with a guy, like make it a dare. And I was just like, man. They was like, he like you. You know you like him.
Mm-hmm.
Like just do it so you can say I slept with a guy, I had sex with a man. And I was just like, I'm good. But I at that time also I was also fighting with my ex. We were breaking up. So I wanted that comfort.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a person.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
one
you're
night
in your 20s, your early 20s.
So
Hey.
one night I
Yeah.
went to my job. I was off this day, but I still went up to the job, hanging out with my coworkers. And my coworker, she was my manager. She was like, "I'm about to go see what's the name." I was like, I'm gonna go with you. I guess I'll see his cousin like that. We ended up walking around Walmart. He kissed me for the first time, and I
Oh.
was like, "Oh, I like this. Okay, I like the feeling of this." And that night, it happened. From that night on, we became like he literally became inseparable. We became together. It was like this unspoken thing. We never officially made it, hey, you're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
It was just I slept with him, we're together, I like you, let's do this.
Mm-hmm. And you,
So that's what happened. We was
okay.
together all the time. He would come pick me up from my job. I would go down to him. We would spend the weekend together.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved in together. That was end of December, beginning of January. By March, April, I was living with him. It wasn't that long.
Okay.
I was pregnant with my first child the end of March. I had
Wow.
a miscarriage
Okay.
during that time. Second child, I had an abortion because for me it was like I never wanted kids.
Mm-hmm.
My kids know this story because I tell them, but I used to say all the time, I'm gonna be the fun auntie. Both my sisters that are younger than me all had kids already. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm older than them. I'm the oldest, I'm fun auntie. I come to me for money, we go hang out, we go chill, whatever. I never So by June, I found that I was pregnant again with my oldest daughter, who's now 8. And when I found that I was pregnant again, we were we were fighting. The fighting, it wasn't something that gradually happened. It was something that happened immediately.
Mm-hmm.
We were already fighting. We were already going through abuse and everything. I left him while pregnant with my first child in July.
Mm-hmm.
Went back home to my mom's house, my parents' house. And I was home for 3 months. I stopped talking to him during that time at first, but then I was like, I miss him now. I'm pregnant with my first child, his second child at the time, third child at the time. Nope, she was his fourth child at the time. My
Wow.
first child, his fourth child. So I was like, I grew up with my dad. My father was in, my parents were married. I
Mm-hmm.
want my daughter to have a father. I started back talking to him, started the feelings again. My 25th birthday, I went back.
Wow.
I went back the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It it wasn't something that was really easy for me to do because my mom and my dad and my sisters was like,
Your
stay,
ear.
stay, like
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
do that. But I loved him.
And you know what? He knew that.
Hmm.
And he knew that as long as you loved him, you were always going to come back.
Hmm.
And
And
you
he
would
said
always forgive
that.
him. And you would always forgive him, no
Yep.
matter what. And he took advantage of that love.
And he would say all the time, "You'll be back. You can leave." Because I would threaten. We would fight, and I'm leaving you. I'm breaking up. Like I'm getting my own place. And the only thing he would say is, "But who gonna watch the kids while you at work?" Because he would watch the kids while I was at work.
Mm-hmm.
Who gonna help you? Who gonna be there for you? Ain't nobody gonna want you. And I started to believe it,
Mm-hmm.
but the abuse just got worse and worse. and worse. It wasn't anything that gradually died down. Now we had our good moments. We had the moments where he was the best person ever, but they were far and few in between.
So let me ask you this. There's a saying that hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
Was he abused as a child or no?
His mom, I, his
And
mom,
kudos to his mother because her
called
saying, I hope you rot in jail,
it.
from a place of a mother, and your mother tells you that says a lot.
She did not condone it. She did not like it. His dad didn't like it. His stepmom. They would tell him, "You need to stop hitting on that girl. You need to stop yelling at her. Leave her. If you're not gonna be with her, do right by her. Leave her alone."
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine loved me. She be like my state. Like he wasn't abused as a child. He didn't have a rough childhood. His mom and his dad and his step, they loved him. Like his mom helped him with whatever. She would he would go in and out of jail. She would put money on his book. She would go visit him. She would go see him. Like his mom to this, like we talk every now and then. We don't communicate like we used to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shout outs to mama. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's my kid's grandmother. I still love her. She will always be my kid's grandmother. That will never change.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Okay. She It's because of her that I got out. It's because of her showing me and talking to me. Cause she would take me, I would go to her house and we would hang out to just me and her, and she'd be like, "You can leave my son. Like, my son ain't nothing. You can leave." And I would laugh and I go, "No, mama, I love your son." And she go, "All right." He
Mm-hmm.
needs to listen. But she also used to say in the same breath, "That's y'all business. Y'all are adults. I ain't getting in that."
Mm-hmm.
She would she was very hard on me as a woman, but she was also hard on him as her son. It wasn't something that she condoned. She did not condone it. She didn't like it.
She just wanted you to make your own
Yes,
decision because
yes,
if it was your decision, Jasmine, she
yes,
knew that you were going to honor the
yes.
decision that you made, just like you honored to stay with him through thick and thin.
And even after I left, I would still talk to her. The kids still call her. We still talked. Like I was still. She bought them Christmas gifts. Like that, she will always. She's never been. She's not replaced. She's not replaceable. Nothing, because that's their grandmother, and it's because of her help. It's because of her that I'm out. And
That's
I tell
beautiful,
anybody,
Jasmine. A lot of people don't give um, people their flowers while they're still here. So that's
yeah.
wonderful. But I want to interject. This
Mhm.
is not going to be a 40-minute
No.
thing. We are going to come to an end,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
we are going to come back for
Okay.
part two of the Jasmine Middleton
Yes,
story.
ma'am. I am
And when
available.
we come back to part two, we're going to know all the wonderful things that you are, doing for the community, all of the wonderful things that you have available. There's a part two. It's never ending. It's never
No,
ending.
it's not. No, it's
Yes.
not. And
So
you gotta like, share, and go to the
yes,
website.
yes,
And,
yes. But most importantly,
mhm.
thank you for shining your light today.
And thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for allowing me to shine the light
Oh,
today.
most definitely. And I see a lot of things in your future that you're already diving into that. Oh my goodness. My mind is like this. It's like churning. You've
Yes.
already tapped into so many things, but there are so many other great potentials.
Mm-hmm.
And part two is coming, and we're going to get together to make sure we schedule that part two interview because I know everybody's going to want to hear.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
thank you, Jasmine.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
much.
Yes.
I appreciate
Keep
it.
smiling. Keep smiling that beautiful smile. And until we meet again,
Yes,
be
ma'am.
inspired to be inspired.
Inspired. Yes, ma'am. Have a great day.
You too.